Wait, if you're looking for that sponsorship role in the NHS and you're confused as to which of the NHS trusts are sponsoring, this is the video you want to watch. In today's video, I will be revealing at least 5 NHS trusts that are currently sponsoring right now. You don't want to miss this video if you are looking for that COS in the UK. Wait till the end of the video and I will be revealing all that information right to you. And you might be lucky at the end of the video, I might have a different bonus for you. So you would be advised to stay to the end of the video to ensure you get all the information you've been searching and scouring for. What have I done for you? I've gone to do the job for you. I have searched high and low of NHS trusts that are still sponsoring, and you would actually be surprised as to which of the trusts are still sponsoring at this time. At the time of this video, this is December 2025, you will be surprised that a lot of NHS organizations still have certificates of sponsorship and are actively recruiting. You would do well to stay to the end of this video to get the list of all these trusts that are still sponsoring. Do you need that healthcare visa or that skilled worker visa? The NHS is the right place for you to get those visas because it doesn't cost you 1 penny. If you get your certificate of sponsorship, your healthcare visa, or your skilled worker visa from the NHS, you would not be charged 1 penny. And you need to know which of the trusts in the UK are still currently sponsoring. I have gone ahead to do all the work for you. So why do you want to keep looking elsewhere? Stay on to this video and you will get the information that you are seeking, because the title drew you in and you would get the information you were searching for in this video. There are still a number of trusts in the UK that are still sponsoring the healthcare visa and the skilled worker visa in 2025. Although there have been a lot of changes from the July 2025 update and the October update with regards to sponsoring and the threshold changing for a lot of roles within the UK. But there are still some NHS trusts in the UK that are still sponsoring for these visas. And the good news about it is that they are still accepting international applicants. I have helped a couple of clients secure roles in this trust. So it will be advisable for you to stick with this video till the end to know the names of trusts that are currently still sponsoring. One thing about this sponsorship is that because of the time of year, the number of sponsorship certificates that they have left, it's not that many. So they are quietly sponsoring. It's not that they're not sponsoring. Some of them are not actually actively advertising it on their website, but they are still sponsoring. It's if you know, you know. If you work in HR and you have colleagues in different organizations, and through our networks, we do tend to find out if those trusts are still sponsoring. That is why I am your go-to person to know what trusts are still sponsoring, because of my connections with different members of staff in different organizations because of my role. So yes, this is the back end to you getting that knowledge about which trusts are still sponsoring. Do well to stick to the end of this video to get the right information you are searching for. I would only be revealing 5 trusts in this video, and number 5 would definitely shock you. So some context, let me explain some things to you from an HR point of view. Since 2025, and especially the last update in October 2025, some trusts are unable to sponsor you based on the healthcare visa and the skilled worker visa. There are some roles that are no longer eligible for this sponsorship. These are the lower bands, so band 3s and lower, certain support jobs, and roles that don't meet the new salary threshold and the C or SOC threshold. Those roles can no longer be sponsored within the NHS. What this means is that what used to be hundreds of sponsorship being available by different trusts, the numbers of this sponsorship has now shrunk dramatically. So hence the reason why a lot of trusts are being very cautious and being very guarded as to displaying that they're still offering sponsorship. So they are quite discerning in terms of the sponsorship certificate that they are issuing out. So only trusts with valid sponsorship license, active recruitment roles, and compliance with overseas hires would still be able to sponsor your roles. You need to get that clear from an HR point of view. So what I have done is I've spent hours and days scouring the internet to look for those trusts that are still sponsoring. And I've also spoken to some of my colleagues in different trusts to ask them if their trust is still actively sponsoring as well. So that is the list I've curated for you on today's video. Here's the twist. Like I said, a lot of trusts are still sponsoring, but they are burying that information in the fine print. That is why I say to a lot of my clients and people that come to me for one-to-one consultation, you need to read the whole document that has been attached to that job advert so that you get the right information, especially when you're applying for your roles in the NHS. We take a lot of time and we use a lot of time to create those job description, person specification. It's a lot of labor of love to create it documents for prospective clients. So you reading those documents would ensure that you get all the right information in there. I've had a client that did not read the documents and had finished filling out all the information regarding that job role. And it was just that at the end, I now said, have you read the documents? Then I now requested the documents for that trust in terms of the job description and person specification. On reading that documentation, I then found out that that trust would not be sponsoring. So all his hard work was just for nothing. Creating that perfect supporting information and creating that perfect profile to submit the application. And you wonder sometimes, especially you that you're looking for a role that requires sponsorship, as to why you were not shortlisted. It's because they have written it in the document that they would not be offering sponsorship. So you applying for that role already disqualifies you if you've written that you need sponsorship. Just so you know that there are some trusts that currently have licenses, but they are refusing to sponsor because of the uncertainty with all these new changes in the laws. They are the ones that are still sponsoring, but they are sponsoring for specific shortage clinical roles. So those are the roles that still draw in very specialist role, but they're still sponsoring for those specialist clinical roles. So if you're trying to apply blindly without reading documentation, without calling the trust to find out if your role that you're applying for, especially when you require sponsorship, would be sponsored, then you'll just be wasting your time and you will be applying for months and we're wondering why you are getting that rejection email, unfortunately. That is very sad if you're not applying wisely. I mentioned that I'll be revealing 5 trusts that are currently still sponsoring. So here there are. Number 1 trust that I know definitely is still sponsoring is Leeds Teaching, putting it on their website. They are sponsoring, but you need to know that it is not all roles within Leeds that are sponsoring. So it's specific roles and specific teams that are still sponsoring. So when you are applying to Leeds Teaching Hospital NHS Trust, you need to read each of the roles that you're applying to see and make sure that that role comes with sponsorship. The second trust that is still sponsoring is Nottingham University Hospital NHS Trust. This trust has been consistently sponsoring. I don't even think they actually stopped sponsoring, or even with all the announcement, I don't think they ever even stopped sponsoring. This trust have been actively sponsoring. I've been able to help one of my clients get a role in this hospital. So please check the roles. This trust is a very good one for you to look at when applying and if you're seeking sponsorship for healthcare visas. One thing you have to be aware for Nottingham University Hospital is that they have very strict criteria for their sponsorship. If you do not meet the criteria, you're automatically rejected. We don't even get to see your application. So the filters are already been put in there to let us know if you actually meet that criteria. So when you're applying, ensure that you meet the criteria before you put in your application. The third trust that is actively still sponsoring is Mid Yorkshire Teaching NHS Trust. Mid Yorkshire NHS Teaching Trust. This Trust actively even puts it in their advert that they actually welcome people that require skilled worker visa. Especially for people looking for skilled worker visa, you have to do well to apply to this trust because they are actively looking for you. So this trust, this Mid Yorkshire NHS Trust, is another good one for you to target if you're requiring sponsorship. The fourth trust that is still sponsoring or has actively been sponsoring is Rotherham NHS Foundation Trust. This is a very wild one because this trust is not a very well-known trust out there, but they've actually been actively putting it on their job adverts that they're actively sponsoring. So if you're looking for that healthcare worker, mostly clinical roles that I've seen for this trust, this Rotherham Trust is really actively looking for healthcare workers. So it's the healthcare work visas I've really seen in this trust that are actively looking for people, mostly at the clinical roles in this trust. I haven't seen any skilled worker visa sponsorship, but you will still do well to still go ahead and check or even call them to see if they're actually going to be sponsoring for the skilled worker. But I know definitely that Rotherham is sponsoring for clinical roles. So you would do well to go to this trust to see what job openings they have for clinical roles so you can get sponsored by them. The fifth one and the most surprising one is East Kent NHS Foundation Trust. This is one of those trusts I was very surprised about that are openly stating that they are able to still sponsor band 5 and above for skilled worker visa roles and also for the healthcare worker visa roles. As long as you've met the criteria, if you've been shortlisted for the role, you've passed your interview, you should be sponsored by this trust if you advise them that you need sponsorship. So please go and check out this trust if you're requiring sponsorship in clinical roles and also skilled worker roles as well. What you need to know about sponsoring and all this trust that are actively sponsoring is that the requirements are very, very tight. So for you to get shortlisted, you need to prove that you're the best candidate because they're going to be spending money to acquire this sponsorship, and it is a yearly fee for them to be able to give you this sponsorship. So you need to be worth their money because they are not asking you to pay for the sponsorship or you're not being charged for the sponsorship by the NHS Trust. So for them to give you sponsorship, you need to be worth it to that organization. So ensure that your supporting information is top notch. That is how you're going to get shortlisted for that role. Ensure that when you go for your interview, you are saying the right things and hitting all those high scores in terms of giving those answers that would require them to give you 4 marks and 5 marks when they're scoring you during those interviews. So you need to ensure that you are the best candidate when you're going for those roles in the NHS, especially when you require sponsorship. Okay, we're at this point now. Just so you know, it's not just those 5 trusts that are still sponsoring. There are more trusts that are still sponsoring. Some of these trusts are sponsoring very quietly. That's why I say to a lot of my clients and people that come to me that you need to do those diggings yourself. But luckily for you, I have done that. I have gone and searched, called different trusts to find out if they're still sponsoring, and I have curated a list of those trusts that are still currently sponsoring, and I've actually even done it better and put them region by region. If you want the list that I've curated from the north, east, west, south, and even to Scotland and Wales, send me a comment in the comment section by saying, "Send me the trust." Put that comment in the comment section and let me know where to send it to by saying, "Send me the trust." And I will send you the list of all the trusts that are actively still sponsoring. This is my list based on my search. For you staying to the end of this video, you deserve that list. And that's the reason why I left it to the end of this video, to be able to tell you what was the secret phrase for you to be able to know where those list is. And for those that haven't stayed, they wouldn't be getting this curated list that will ensure that you know the right trust to target for your sponsorship visas. I want you to succeed. is not just about you coming to me for that one-to-one help, which I can do by helping you craft that amazing supporting information, also helping you to prepare for your interview once you've been shortlisted. If you need that one-to-one help, my email address is the humanresourcesplaybook@gmail.com. I will leave that in the comment section. I'll pin it to the comment section of this video for you to be able to contact me so that we can have the best foot forward in ensuring that we secure the roles to this trust that are still sponsoring and are the best candidates during those interviews. So those interview preps, ensuring that you're saying the right things and answering the question that has been asked during the interview. So this would help you ensure that you're not just applying blindly, you are applying constructively, and your application is targeted just to trusts that are actively sponsoring. If you found this video helpful in any way, drop a comment in the comment section and just let me know how helpful I have been. And that encourages me to continue to do videos like this that will bring value to you, especially in your recruitment journey. Please like, share, subscribe to my channel. Until next time, where I'll bring you more insight into the NHS and those secret codes that you need to succeed in your recruitment journey into the NHS. Until next time, take care and have a good day. Bye.